Hi, welcome to Mels Talks. Gosh, I'm so excited, I don't even know where to start. Call me Mel. I've wanted to do this for a very long time. I've wanted to do a podcast that starts a conversation about women going through the menopause, about women aging, about the struggles that we have when our bodies start to do something different to what we think our bodies should be doing or we've been used to our bodies doing. And I want us to talk and support each other. I also want to talk to women that are younger, that, you know, the menopause seems a long way off for you, but actually everything you're doing now, what's happening with your life now, is going to impact how you travel through the menopause and how you travel later. And one of the things that a lot of my friends tell me is that their mums, you know, our parents' generation, didn't really talk about it. They didn't talk about the menopause, and some of them didn't talk about being ill, let alone anything else, because it just wasn't something that was done. And I think it's something valuable that we're not passing on. We're not passing on the knowledge of women from woman to woman, age to age, that's going to help us to embrace that third phase of our life. So that's why I'm doing the podcast. That's what the podcast is about. And because the menopause touches every area of our lives, it's not just going to talk about the symptoms, but we're also going to talk about how the symptoms affect us in how we feel, but how they affect and ripple out and affect our lives. So how do we show up at work? How do we show up in our relationships now? How do we show up in our families? How do we work through day to day when we're also dealing with all of these symptoms? So that's what we're going to be talking about. 2025. If we sort of think, okay, what have I done and what would I like to do? What would I like to embrace? For me, this podcast is all about my 2025. It's all about stepping out, using the knowledge that I have to help other people, but also fulfilling my dreams. This is my dream. I've wanted to do this for such a long time, and I've talked myself out of it, and I've, procrastinated and all of those things. And I suppose what I want to say is 2025 is a year to embrace. It's to, what's that term? Feel the fear and do it anyway. It's that year. So let's talk about how do we do that? So the first episode is really going to talk about how we do that. How do we set goals? How do we embrace where we are now without looking back with sadness? How do we embrace the future without embracing it with fear? Because it is going to be a bit different. Your body is going to be doing things that you're not used to it doing. But we can embrace that, and we can embrace that with knowledge. So the more we know about why what's happening to our bodies is happening to our bodies, the better we can face it and achieve it and move past it. So the first thing is going to be about, what is it that I want? What is it that I would like to achieve for the year? Like I said, for me, it's my podcast, but it's not about jumping there in big steps. It's about taking small steps, achievable things. What can I do on a day-to-day basis to step away, step by step, into the future that I want for myself? Phew. Okay, so a little bit about my backstory then. So I am a mum. I'm a grandma. I am a sports therapist and a senior lecturer. My background is biomedical sciences, and that's like all the sort of sciencey stuff. I am an eternal student, I think. I just love learning. Currently working on my doctorate in education, so my educational doctorate. And that's, I suppose, that's a serious side of me, the more sort of like the side that you put out to the world. And then the other side of me is I am a breast cancer survivor. So I've survived breast cancer. My mum passed from breast cancer, and also my sister, and we've got sort of cancer within the family. Lots of uncles and things have passed. And I suppose the thing in the middle of all of that is faith. That's my enduring from my mum, from my dad, that's the thing that's sort of brought me to where I am today, is an enduring faith in God. And I know that people don't always want to talk about their faith, and don't worry, I'm not going to push my faith at anybody, but I am going to say that without it, I know for sure I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be where I am today. God's got his hand on my life, and I am very grateful for that. I am the mum of one very beautiful son who is the apple of my eye and my everything. And I've got 3 beautiful grandsons from him. We've been through adversity. Losing my mum was hard, really hard. And actually, I lost my mum to breast cancer before my own cancer diagnosis, so it was quite scary then when I was going through it. Some of the things that have brought me to here where I am and why I'm so interested in women's health is there is an enduring truth that seems to follow women of any colour, really, to be fair, but black women particularly, is that we're not always often heard when we speak about our health issues or our illnesses. Particularly in our community, one of the things that black women are really good at is just pushing through. I'm gonna push through, I'm pushing through it. How are you? Oh, my back hurt, but I'm pushing through. We push through, and my mum pushed through until she had secondaries from her breast cancer. And the story there is that she went to the doctor when she first noticed a little lump, and she was told it wasn't anything. And hers isn't the only story. It's not, there's many stories like that of women of all ages now that I'm hearing, and the more I talk about it, the more I hear it, going to the doctor and the doctor saying, oh yeah, you know, it's take some painkillers, or it's just your period, or it's a natural part of your life, you'll be fine, you'll get over it. It's not really good enough at all. And one of the things that I'd like this podcast to do is to just start the conversation going, that you know that you have somewhere, a community that you can come and talk, and that it's not just my knowledge and what I know, it's collective knowledge, it's all of us, because my journey through the menopause is different to your journey through the menopause. The symptoms that I will experience that are terrible for me may not even be the ones that you experience, but if we talk to each other, I can support you in saying, oh, I tried this, I did this, I did this medication, or I didn't do that medication, or this is, the more voices, the more support we can give each other. And moreover, yes, it is a normal part of life, of aging, but it's not normal for you to be in pain, or for you to have so much anxiety that you can't leave the house, or for you to be in fear, or for your mental health to be so overtaken that some days you can't get out of bed. None of that's normal. It's not normal for you to have so much pain that the thought of having sex with your husband is unbearable. It's not supposed to be like that. Those aren't normal things that you just put up with, but there are things that we can do, whether it's that you decide to take hormone replacement therapy, or like me, you can't, so you have to look at other ways of doing it, and you have to think about maybe meditating and breath work and yoga and exercise and all the alternative things, then that's the conversation I want us to be having. I want us to be able to support each other. If you've got things that you've done that you know have worked for you, share that. Let's open this up, that we're a community. Yes, it's my voice and my face that's here, but there's nothing to stop you coming on and talking with me and telling me about your journey, because that's what this is about. It isn't just about me, this is about us. This is about creating a community of women that are here for each other, that will support each other through thick and thin and through the menopause. And knowledge is power. I don't know everything. I know some things, but I don't know everything. And there'll be stuff that you've done that you know that you can share that can help someone else, because that's the whole point of this. That's why. Yeah, the scary thing about the way the world is going right now, the way the world is rolling right now, is that women's health is low down on the agenda. And that's not to say that there aren't other things that are important, but there's no balance right now. And if we don't start speaking, then more women are going to be suffering in silence. We have the whole poverty right now. People are thinking about, do I heat my home? Do I eat? If you're a woman that you're going through a menstrual cycle, you're also now having to weigh up, how am I going to buy my sanitary stuff? How am I going to buy my tampons and my sanitary towels? Those costs, there's a VAT on that. We talk about, we've got food banks, but I would like there to be a puberty bank. Why have we not got, we've not got nappies, that we're just giving out nappies? Why are we not just giving out sanitary towels? For years and years and years, condoms and contraception, I don't even know if that's still free, but it used to be when we were growing up. You could go to the clinic, get checked and make sure that you were fine, all for free, and then you would be given condoms to make sure that you were staying safe. It's not about pregnancy, it's about keeping you safe. So we've moved away from this really looking after each other for the essential things. Why have we not got sanitary banks? Really? I mean, I am sure that tonight there's going to be somebody that is using rolled up paper and rolled up rags because they can't afford to buy sanitary towels. We're in 2024, we're moving into 2025. That should not be the case. One of the important things about the menopause, is that it isn't just about physical symptoms, right? So it's not just about hot sweats and putting weight on around your middle and that sort of thing, and aching joints. It's also about the mental and emotional impact that it has on you. So when you're struggling with your own emotional balance, so you're struggling with 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down. You're struggling with the anxiety of, am I good enough? And you're kind of doubting everything that you do because suddenly your body doesn't quite feel like it's yours. If you haven't built up a social network, and this is male or female, this is both. If you haven't got a strong social network, like a real social network, I don't mean on a computer, I mean physical, where you've got people that you can call up and physically go and see, that you've learned how to build those social interactions. You know how to sit down and have a conversation over dinner with your friends, rather than that where everything is so quick now. My worry is that we'll forget how to make real, deep, lasting, touching, as in physical relationships. And I'm not talking about men and women, I'm talking about sexual relationships, I'm talking about friendships that support you when you are struggling, when you are low. I'm very blessed to have just the strongest friendship group, girl friendship group, woman friendship group, that I know that at any point I could call on any single one of them. One of them only needs to say, I need for the rest of us to come running. And my worry about our young people today is that they're not forming those connections. That means that when your body starts doing things that you don't expect or want it to do, who are you turning to talk about those things with? Are you actually having those conversations with your friends? Are you having those conversations now with your mum and your aunts, so that you know what to expect later on? For men, don't just think this is about women, because some men actually suffer with menopausal symptoms. Some men actually do struggle with hot sweats and loss of libido and weight gain and hair loss and mood swings and all of those things. Men, it's not as much, but men get that. They also suffer from a drop of their testosterone levels. And while it's easier to remedy, it's not always something that men speak about. The mental health side of that is huge, and we've got a huge number, a growing number of our young men that are struggling with mental health because they're not making the social connections. You know, it's the same for the women. I think traditionally, as black women, we're seen as being really strong black women. That's our, like, you know, it's our thing. We carry that mantle. I don't think we have. I don't think we've grown from the it's okay to ask for help thing. I think this whole mentality that our mothers had, that our grandmothers had, that they had to carry the family. They had to be the ones that were, you know, working 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs and still coming home and cooking for the children and looking after the man and you know, not complaining. And it was seen as weak to complain. It was seen as weak to stay in bed on a Saturday morning and relax. As black women, that's not something that lying. I never saw my mum lying once. My mum had to be sick, and even then she didn't. So we've learned by example. We've seen our mothers and our grandmothers just pushing through and carrying the world on their shoulders. You've got a headache, take a tablet, get on with it. You have a stomach ache, take a tablet, drink some ginger tea and just keep going. It isn't something that we've been used to. And we're even looked at by the rest of society as being strong. We're even looked at, and when we go back to thinking about health, we're even looked at by the health professionals as being, you know, oh, you've got a high pain threshold, haven't you? Have I? In comparison to who? Who are you comparing me to? And then limiting the pain relief that you're giving me, or when I'm telling you that I'm in pain, not hearing me because I'm harder somehow than my white counterparts. Black and brown women suffer that all the time. And it's a misconception because pain is relative to each person. It's not, and I think when we as black women cry or we show vulnerability in that way, it's almost like the whole world will stop because everyone's shocked that we even have tears. And I'm not sure where this whole break your back thing came from, and we're still carrying it, and it's not good. It's not a great thing to pretend to be, you know, okay when you're not okay. The strength comes from asking for help. It's stronger to ask for help than it is to just pretend that we're fine. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about reaching out for help. For me, the menopause manifested itself in hot sweats, a little bit at the beginning, but I went into premature menopause because of the breast cancer treatment. So I found myself at 39 hitting menopause because the treatment had put me there. And then they all thought, the doctors were like, well, that's it, your periods won't come back, you're done, you're finished, it's fine. And to be honest, I was grateful to be alive, not having cancer, losing my periods, that's okay, that's fine. But then after 5 years after, so I went through treatment for 5 years, hormone therapy went on for 5 years. When I came off of that, my periods came back with a vengeance, properly bent over, and I always used to have painful periods, but this was unbelievable. And it was like that for another couple of years. That you were caught short. I had to have every single bag I had to have sanitary towels or pads or tampons or something in it, every single bag. I couldn't leave the house without it because I didn't know when it was coming, and when it came it was heavy and the pain was excruciating. And it was just, it was horrendous. And I guess that's when I started thinking about other women going through the menopause. And because of my job as a sports therapist, I then have got female patients that are coming in with aches and pains and indiscriminate this and that and the other, and not being able to put their finger on it, and realise as I started pulling all these things together, they're all menopausal symptoms. They're all the age of going through the menopause. They're all, 40, coming into 40. The average age is around 40. And you start your perimenopause before your periods go. The symptoms come, you're still having periods, and the symptoms start coming, and women think they're going mad. I thought I was losing my mind. And that's where the interest in this started. And then I started looking more at what's actually going on in my body, because no one was telling me. So the doctors were just like, well, oh, you're a miracle because your periods have come back. We didn't expect your period to come back because, basically your womb is now shriveled up. So we didn't expect that to happen. And that was a female that said that to me, not even a man. So, but this is, oh, what a surprise. Aren't you lucky that your periods have come back? I don't think so. I'm in agony. But no help with this for pain relief, that I just had to get on with it on my own. And I did. I had hot sweats, I'd be sitting in a restaurant, air conditioning would be on, it'd be cold, winter, and my face would suddenly get really hot and I would be dripping with sweat. And no help. I couldn't go on hormone therapy. I was told you can't because your cancer was hormone led, so no, you just have to deal with it. And so that's what I did. I dealt with it. And I know that there are more women out there that have had to go through it in that way. You start keeping a diary, and we'll talk about these things as we go through the episodes. And I promise, I will sit and talk about all of the symptoms. That's the first thing we're going to talk about, what it is and why your body's going through it. But it's once you get a handle on the symptoms and you realise that the brain fogs and the loss of concentration, the lack of focus, the exhaustion, the hair thinning, all of those things are all part of menopause. Now you start to be able to kind of take a breath and realise, right, okay, I'm not going mad. Estrogen dropping off is causing this to happen. I'm going through a cycle, the same as when I was having my periods. I'll go through the same cycle. That's not going to change. So there are going to be times when I feel great, and there are going to be times when I don't feel so good. And if I can keep a diary and keep a track on these, I can start to sort of see some order in all of this. And now I can start to take a bit of control over my life. And that's what I hope coming to these podcasts is going to do for you. Some of them, if we're talking about hot sweats, you might think, well, I'm not experiencing that. And that's okay, but you might have a friend that is. So if I do breathing exercises, there's some simple breath work exercises that you can do that can help to clear the mind of brain fog. That helps. So we're going to talk about those things as we go over the months. We're going to really buckle down into some of the symptoms, and I want you to share with me some of the things that you've done that have helped you with, feeling in control. I know for me, I exercise every day. That's really important for me, for my own mental health and my anxiety. I do my eye exercises because that helps with my eyes not getting blurry and my vision going funny. And a funny story, I went to my optician and was told that my eyes have actually got better rather than worse. And so I was like, okay, so why can I not read things sometimes? I will keep going on this podcast actually, because we need our voice to be heard as women of all demographics, not just black women, but obviously I'm going to particularly push black and brown women because I know my story and I know the story of my friends and family, and it's one that I keep hearing over and over again. that people are being diagnosed late, women are being diagnosed late, women aren't being taken seriously. And then if you're a black woman or a brown woman, it's worse. So if you forgive me for the one thing that I'm always going to come back to, it's going to be that. What I wish I knew when I was 25 was that my periods would mimic my menopause. So that, by that I mean that I did used to be a little bit irritable, little bit, and that would be one of the things that would be heightened. I wish I knew that it was okay to talk to other women about how my periods were affecting me. I wish I knew that it was okay to talk to my partner about how my cycle was affecting me. I wish that I had the courage and understanding to be able to talk to my doctors about what was happening with my body at that time. And as I step into this podcast and the things that are coming, so I want to address what I wish I knew. So I wish I knew what the menopause symptoms were. What does menopause and perimenopause mean? We bandy those words about. What do they mean? What does that look like? When can I expect that these things will start happening to my body? And how can I use what I learn about my body on a monthly basis at 25 to help me when I get to 40, 45, 50, 55? How can the foods that I'm eating now affect me when I am 30? Because if you're 25, I'll certainly affect you when you're 30 because your body changes. What about the changes that happen to my body in my 30s? Some women experience menopause from 35. They start getting perimenopausal symptoms. So what are they? What would that look like for me? What should I and shouldn't I be eating that is going to help me now to be able to go through my cycle well? So, I have, you're struggling with pain. Well, what could you do now rather than just taking a whole load of Nurofen and this, that and the other? What else could you do naturally that might be able to help you, that you could now employ for later? I want to talk about why the symptoms affect us the way the symptoms affect us. Why, as women, we're afraid to talk about how they affect our vagina. We are afraid to say the word vagina. Gosh, why are we so afraid of that word? Why are we afraid of the very part of us that makes us innately a woman? So I want to talk about what that's about. When I was 25, I wish someone had sat me down and spoken to me about my vagina and what that meant, how to take care of it, how to bring it into my daily routine, the things that I should have been doing, shouldn't have been doing. Not the horror stories I've heard about women that are, spraying perfume. It's like, oh my goodness, you're killing yourself, literally killing yourself. So, I didn't do that, thankfully, my mum, but that wasn't a conversation. I didn't have that conversation with my girlfriends. I didn't go to them and say, my big sister said that you shouldn't be squirting anything to make anything smell better, because that's not what, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't use perfumed soaps, my mum told me that, and my older sister, because they were, obviously my mum, but my sister's 20 years older than me. So she told me things that helped me, but I didn't have that conversation with my peers. I didn't come back and tell my girlfriends that, like I would now have a conversation with my friends about the menopause and, you know, about vaginal health and all of those things. I wouldn't have had this conversation when I was 25 and 30. And I wish that someone had had that conversation with me. And I know that there are many women, young women out there that are doing things that are going to cause you harm because you think it's okay to do that. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how do you take care of your health? How do you make sure that when you get to your perimenopause age that you are healthy and that you embrace it with grace rather than fear. Mels Talks, embracing the change and redefining the journey. We are going to step into menopause with grace.